Cheers. It's always good to take a pre-video swig if you can. For me, it makes words come out better. Today we are going to do another video regarding the upgrades and improvements we've made to the boat after the first Florida trip. Most of this stuff was kind of big, actually. It wasn't as many little ticky-tack things as we did before we left, but they were very, very needed and very good improvements nonetheless. So let's get started with, since I'm down here, one of the biggies. As we pointed out in our first maintenance video, we put this lovely brand new push button flush electric head in. However, as we got along in our trip, we started to notice that it smelled real. There are no tank indicators on most boats, especially of this age, so we noticed it was real bad. And so, you know, we kept trying to make sure that we didn't overfill it, etc., etc. Anyway, long story short, when we got home, I dug down in there and realized that the top elbow, the inlet, the inlet for the tank was very, very corroded, and it had gotten bad to the point where around where the hose connected, it was rotted through. So basically, full tank equaled poopy explosion. Back underneath, down in the aft bilge where the tank is. Very gross, not cool. And the metal tanks on these boats are one of the problem areas. We knew that coming in. Thought it was going to be okay, but at the end of the day, what the doctor ordered was a brand new plastic tank. But the tank is down underneath where you stand to drive, and the only way into it is from one of those aft lazarettes. It's damn near impossible to stand in there for a normal-sized human. So what's required to change the tank is to cut a hole in the aft bulkhead, which is actually results in kind of a nice setup because I put a whole new cover on there. Here you see our access panel that we put in. I'm just going to pop this off and show you what the tank looks like and how the install went. Just like that. Got access to the tank and the batteries. So as you can see, our poly tank sitting back in here fits right in to the same spot as the old tank. We've got battery mounts on both sides that keep it from going anywhere. Also, here I want to show you, so it's kind of a bitch. The input, or intake I should say, for the tank, it's clear back there in that corner. So we had to put together these fittings to get the right angle. And we also put all new waste hoses. They are what will hold the most grossness and stink. When we removed these hoses, they weighed a ton. You can see what kind of opening there is to work with. It's almost impossible to get a tank in or out. So having this access panel is really a nice update, even though it was kind of a pain to have to cut it and everything, but now that it's in, it's no problem at all. In addition, added this lovely tank sensor, and this is a double tank sensor. It measures freshwater and holding tank. You've got three little sensors that go on each tank, and they stick on. They only work on plastic tanks, so you can get an idea of where you are. It's not exact. And you can see there we're about third full, a little bit more, and about the same with our freshwater tank. So it's real easy to get an idea of what you have in your tank, which, you know, also helps to avoid poopy explosions. Another nice little add-on was this here television. This is very good for baby. We have an Apple TV right there, and that is plugged in, so as long as we're shoreside and have power, we can watch Netflix or Hulu, all that good stuff. And those are just a couple of computer speakers and a computer monitor with an adapter for HDMI. Works great. We had it sitting around, and so it's basically a free TV, plus 20-30 bucks for the adapter and speakers, and then we also had that Apple TV sitting around not using it, so score. Now, one day we were out racing, and on one particularly hard blow that didn't knock us down, but we had to correct for, I felt a popping sound. And that popping sound originated from under my feet, right here behind the wheel. And I suddenly noticed that I had a ton of gap in the steering, probably 6 to 8 inches, which was not normal. Come to find out, when we took that cover off, we had snapped our radial drive wheel almost in half. What that does, basically that's the wheel that your cables go around to turn your rudder. So you can see how broken that is. So that's the radial drive wheel. It's an Edson part, which we ordered. We have a new one sitting over there. And it was just its time, apparently. And then we take apart one and put the other in the next one. Hopefully it just works just that easy.
I saw one video where a guy got his wires crossed and the steering was backward.
So this is our new drive wheel right here. We'll go right there. Chris is cleaning that up. And just gotta take a minute here to give Edson a little shit. They only drilled one hole. They didn't drill this one right here. So I had to line that up and drill that at home. And then also, on the bottom here, where these were in the mold, I'm assuming, there's these giant nubs right here. And this has to sit flat on these nylon rings there. We've got a little, I've got a little grinding wheel. I'm going to try and knock it down with that and see if it works. I guess we've got really no other choice. If it doesn't, we'll have to go buy more grinding wheels until we get it ground down flat. Or otherwise, we're not going to be able to get everything to fit or run smoothly. You know, it's a $466 part, and this is what I've got to do. I have a little saw, and I'm cutting a nub off because it shouldn't be there, like that. Oh, it's going to work out just fine, but you know. The only thing we got left here is this is the stopper, and that goes on underneath, but it's just a little bit long. We gotta cut it off about 3/8 or so, and then it gets bolted on the underside where those two bolts are. They're just there for safekeeping. And once that's in, it is officially 100% done. So I think that was a success. And the final upgrade that I can think about at the moment is just a manipulation of something that was already on the boat. So our bimini used to attach right here, which is kind of common, but to put the bimini right here, basically it kills your sitting space. We've got a nice little pedestal there for another winch if we ever wanted to put one on, which obviously is useless because the bimini rails would be right in the way. And so as you can see, I bought a couple of new connections for the stern rail, sort of gently bend them outward a bit. I mean, you can see looking this way just how much more room that gives us in the cockpit. This is one of my favorite spots to sit and steer. Super comfortable, wheels right there. So anyway, those are our mods, and so far they have been extremely helpful. Obviously a couple of those were very necessary. Please give us a like, make sure to subscribe. Thank you very much for watching, and be sure to drop your comments below. Anything about the stuff that we put in, the stuff we changed, any suggestions about other things you might see on the boat that you think could be done better, and or any questions about why we did what we did and how we did it. And we'll be happy to respond. Cheers. Please take a moment to like and subscribe.
And be sure to follow us on social media.
Thanks for watching. Cheers!